Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Greenlit and Grounded. Today we had the pleasure of sitting down with journeyman actor David Reale. We talked a little bit about his time working on set with the one and only Aaron Sorkin.
We also had the opportunity to chat with him about his views on the mindset of being a performer, as well as the shifts in the industry, both in Canada and the US.
Of course, we had to bring up the fact that as an Italian, he plays a lot of Jewish roles.
If this kind of content is something that resonates with you, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, comment, whether it's on Instagram, whatever the platform is. Feel free to rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really, really helps us out. David Reale.
Hello.
How's it going, my guy?
It's going. It's happening.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. It really means a lot. I know you're really good at having conversations. So when we got you, I was like, oh, this is going to be juicy. This is
a lot to live up to already.
Well,
Pressure.
you know,
It is a lot of pressure.
Now you better live up to it.
Okay, great.
You know,
He's spoken very highly of you and your skills and holding a conversation.
I did gush a little bit.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
No pressure though.
Okay, we'll see what happens now.
Just to jump right in, something that Jared and I were kind of geeking out about.
Yeah, fanboying a little bit.
Fanboy a little bit. We're huge Aaron Sorkin fans.
Okay.
And so you had the opportunity to work on Molly's Game.
Yes.
And there's a lot of, most people haven't met Aaron Sorkin or worked on an Aaron Sorkin project. And so there's a lot of rumors around if you work on an Aaron Sorkin project, you have to get the words exactly right and all this and that. And so whether it's working with Aaron Sorkin or working opposite
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica Chastain. Yeah, what a star-studded cast. What are the
Chris
pressure?
Siddiqui.
Keep going.
Just drop those names.
They worked with David Reale.
Yeah, they worked. Yeah, worked with Reale.
What are the pressures associated with that? Are those pressures real? Are they internal, external, or did you find that it was much more free-flowing than that?
I mean, I was doing a very, very minor character, and so I felt just lucky to be there. And on a usual set, I probably would have been in for a day because that's how my character was so small in the scheme of the story. But because it was this montage sequence where it's when she's learning all about poker and figuring out it's like that the Rocky scene where you get awesome at something.
Yeah.
It's this part of the story where she's getting awesome at figuring out the ins and outs of that whole world that is the center of the story. So I got to be there for a week and a half.
Wow.
Kept changing clothes, doing these little bits, changing clothes, doing a little bit, so it would look like months or maybe a year or something.
Had gone by in the film.
So it was the best case scenario in terms of pressure, because I especially at that time, I probably didn't handle pressure very well. Having a good conversation on this podcast is a lot of pressure. I'm getting better at it, but yeah, it was mostly just fun, which is great because, like you said, I'm there with Jessica Chastain, Jeremy Strong, and all these people, and Sorkin.
Yeah.
And so I think I would have been, and I think I was actually still pretty freaked now that I think about it. Trying I don't play poker, so I was in the weeks leading up to it, because they said when you auditioned it was we want real poker players, and I'm like, oh shit, I've played among friends.
So you bluffed it.
Exactly.
Incredible.
There you go. And so, but I was learning how to do all of those.
I'm on it,
You know all those tricks people do
with the chips.
With the chips.
Yeah.
I was and I'm and then I get there, and of course everyone at the table
was doing that. Get out of here.
And I was okay, well, we can't all do it.
You're watch this.
So I won't do it.
Yeah.
And
but you were ready to go with that.
I was ready to go.
Yeah, it was your party trick.
I had it in the bag.
Yeah.
But it was fun. And in terms of Sorkin being a stickler for words, it was his first time directing. So he was actually very humble, because
that's great.
He's working with all these actors who have worked with the greatest directors of all time, mainly Jessica Chastain. I don't call her Jessica.
Well, you guys are BFFs.
We're BFFs.
Yeah.
and so he was asking her for a lot of advice. So I got to be a fly on the wall for a lot of those conversations, which was really fun.
Is there anything about those conversations that stood out to you that that's an interesting thing for her to notice, or I would love to take that and run with it?
Yeah, he was so, first of all, he had us improvise.
Yeah.
Because because it was montages, not everything was scripted.
Right.
And so,
That's
again,
cool.
it was just say what you want in a Sorkin thing. And then with...
Say what you want, but make it Sorkin.
Yeah, make it Sorkin.
That's so funny.
No pressure, though.
Yeah. And then with Ms. Chastain, he was trying to give her direction, but she was helping him direct her. Because he would just give her a line reading, because he knows exactly how...
What he wants it to look and sound like.
And she's please, wait, please don't, you know, but not in a mean way, but she's just like helping him.
Setting her boundaries.
Yes, being like,
Right.
okay, just what do you need this to be for your story? You know, and then let me do it that way so she could, you know, honor whatever her process is,
Right.
and not just deliver the Sorkin
read how
writing,
he-
directed
yeah.
by Sorkin, spoken by Sorkin. Yeah.
And how do you feel about that though? Because when you see someone like Miss Chastain do that, does that send a signal to you as an actor to go, okay, well, what is my process? How do I need to set that boundary? Do I need to be vocal about it like she did, or is it about a pecking order thing?
Yeah, no. I would do exactly what I'm told. How do you want me? Like, please tell me how you want me to say it, and I'll say it exactly like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think, you know, it's her movie, and so
Fair enough.
You know, she's is crafting a character. I'm there serving a very specific function.
Right.
And so yeah, I think there's only so much time in the day, and the time for actors to sort of not be indulgent, but to like set boundaries for their process.
Right.
But speaking of which, I'm working with Jeremy Strong as well, who's also famous for his interesting
process.
You know,
Yeah.
and again, it was like the coolest. Like he did his thing, and he was, you know, playing music and in a, you know, and I don't know if he was talking in character. I'd never met him before, but he was, you know, it was very kind of intense, but not intrusive.
Right.
Like he's just
He
doing
did his own thing. He didn't like shout it to
It
everyone.
was to serve himself, but not
Yeah.
to intimidate people and make them feel unwelcomed or uncomfortable.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And it was fun because then we're getting to improvise, and it's
Yeah.
like Jeremy Strong, Michael Cera, and we're just like chatting.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
I'm gonna run with this. So
Go for it, man.
between your experience as an actor, which spans over 2 decades, I believe.
Yeah, if you count like my childhood stuff.
I count your childhood.
Okay,
stuff.
great.
Yeah. So over 2 decades of experience as an actor. You also have taught or continue to teach at George Brown. You also teach Meisner classes. You also teach at another studio.
MAP.
At MAP.
Yeah.
And you've also done a lot of work, which we're going to get into this with The Performer's Mindset with Joseph Ariel Town.
Yeah, that's right.
Huge fan. I'm curious to know if you are at a point in your career at all where you feel like you've developed a quote unquote process, or if you've more just developed an arsenal of tools that depending on the job, but is there still sort of like a baseline of how you start approaching a piece, whether it's in an audition or if you've got a job that you've booked?
It's the second thing.
Okay.
It's the arsenal of tools. You know, you said you were talking about you being scrappy as an actor. I've always felt,
I tend to consider myself pretty scrappy.
yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I've always felt, and I like I take great pride in this, that, you know, I'm kind of like, I've been a scavenger, you know, most of my life, and
Yeah.
I'm taking what I can get, and I'm playing all these different literal roles. But even within the industry, like, you know, I've done craft on sets. You
Yeah.
know, like I've worked in casting. I've worked as a coach, as a teacher.
Yeah.
I've was a reader for so long in casting, and so doing all these different things, I've learned so much. And also I've learned that in the collaboration on a set, you sort of have to be quick on your feet to be able to see, okay, what's the vibe here? How much time do we have?
Right.
What's the flow of this process? And how can I tweak what I'm doing to do my best inside of whatever that is? Because
Yeah.
it's different on every set, on every kind of level of project.
Just because there's like a different combination of people and there's different times and pressures when creating something. Is that what you mean?
Different. Yeah, exactly. Different times. Like if you know, like if you're like an actor, like an A-list actor who gets a role and you know you're shooting in 6 months.
Yeah.
That's very different than it's like the last thing I shot, I found out about it and I was shooting the next day.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, and that's very common.
You had a similar thing with
Well, yeah. I mean, we had to reschedule the day, but if everything worked according to plan, I found out that I got the role on like a Monday.
Yeah.
No, on a Tuesday, and then 36 hours later, I was in the car driving
Yeah.
to set.
Yeah.
The amount of work you do in 36 hours to prep for something is very different than the amount of work you do over 6 months.
The thing that I guess has really become part of my process is taking the audition aspect of the work and having a different mindset around that, because that's so much of what we do.
Yeah.
And if speaking of Joe
we're going to get into mindset.
Oh,
bro.
yeah. Well,
We
Joe
are.
would talk about, like, you got to practice the way you play, because otherwise, what are you practicing?
Yeah.
So if you're auditioning and you're utilizing one skill set, and then you book the job, and that skill set doesn't serve you for the job,
Then what do you have?
So what if you do? What are you doing? If you're lucky, you're auditioning 3 times a week. That's a lot of great practice
For auditioning.
Yeah. But then you get the job, and it's a totally different thing.
What do you do?
So I've tried to make my attitude towards auditioning really serve me when I book.
I talk a lot about that in the audition classes that I teach.
Oh, yeah.
That whether it's a self-tape and you have your reader, which I do think, personal opinion, everyone needs to be very specific about who their reader is, so you have someone who you feel like you can collaborate with. Or if you got a live audition or a Zoom audition these days, to see it as an opportunity not to prove yourself for 5 to 10 minutes or sometimes 2 minutes,
Damn right.
but to turn it into a collaboration station.
Yeah.
And not just asking a question for the sake of like, oh, I'm just, just trying to be a smart actor and let me ask a question here, which I absolutely am guilty of doing back in the day.
Right.
But like saying, hey, I'm interested in this aspect of the character. I'm wondering, can we do it like this? Because that might be cool. And then you feel the energy shift in their eyes and in their voice because they get excited.
I think so much of my process when I was younger was like about having a process.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, I want to be an actor, so I'm going to have a process.
So many people talk about a process, like you don't know what your process is yet.
Yeah, and then but there's so much performance going into pretending like you know what the hell you're doing. And it's just like, I've cut that mostly out because I think it's better for me. The truth is, I don't know what I'm doing. On day one, I do not know what I'm doing. When I have no idea. So to get humble, get real, and go like, okay, I don't know, has been the best thing to allow myself to do versus when I was younger and you think you have to know.
Right.
It's like that common thing I always talk about with actors of like, well, my character would never do this. It's like that was probably said by some brilliant actor
about something
very specific.
Right.
Once upon a time when they were doing like theater and they were in rehearsal and they're justifying some piece of
and
text.
they've lived with it for like 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you have every hack actor being like, well, my character would never. It's like, you don't know.
You don't know
You
that.
don't know who you
got this
are,
a
let
week
alone
ago.
who the character is.
You have so little self-awareness about yourself. You can't possibly be aware of this other person.
And
that's hilarious.
Whenever if you think about it in your own life, whenever you've been in remarkable situations, the kind of situations that people would tell a story about, you do unusual things.
Yeah.
You do not
Right.
behave like yourself. That's why it's interesting and remarkable. That's why you talk about it.
Yeah.
So even if you know this character, probably in this scene, they're going to be doing something they've never done before in their life because it's a unusual event. That's why there's a movie about it.
Right. That's why we're watching it. That's why it's been written. It's
Yeah,
not just
it's
like
not-
a mundane everyday.
Exactly.
Just getting a coffee, get a coffee. I want to talk about some advice because you were saying like about the process and saying you don't have a process and that's helped you kind of approach the work. As a coach as well as a teacher, as a professor at Georgetown, is that what I would call you?
Professor David Reale.
Well, I want to know because in
He
college,
is. I think you are.
You're a
It
professor.
says professor on my
See?
contract.
You're laughing, but it's
But I'm like there once a
Hey,
week.
I watched your interview on Douglas Nyback's podcast,
Yeah.
and you said you were a professor.
Okay,
so
I'm a professor.
The
Own
title
that
of this
shit, man.
podcast will be in conversation with Professor
Damn
David
right.
Reale.
Hell yeah.
So what I was getting at was, is there any piece of advice that you could offer someone like a film and TV actor? What would you, if there was one piece of advice that they could walk away watching this, what would you want that to be?
But just to add on to that before you answer, what you would say to a film and TV actor also when going into theater and vice versa, because I know you do both.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're connected, but they feel like different mediums.
Yeah.
So what would be the advice that you give there?
That's interesting. There was one really fortunate time where I was doing a play, and the play was happening in 2 parts of the country. It was like a co-pro with 2 different theaters. So I was doing it in Montreal, then I was doing it in Winnipeg. And there was a few weeks off when we transferred over. And in those few weeks off, I was doing an episode of Suits, which is a show I had done before, a character I had done before. And it was the first time back to back to back, I got to do theater, then film, then theater.
Oh, wow.
And
That's a unique experience.
it's a very unique experience.
Yeah.
One thing it did for me personally was there's things I get from theater that I can't get from film and vice versa. And sometimes when I'm doing film, I'm longing to scratch the itch that theater does, and I pollute the work with that longing of something it can't offer me.
Like an internal David Reale thing, not character thing.
Yes, like I want to feel this way, and I don't get that from film. And so there's
You never get that from film?
Yeah, there's I mean, there's no audience there for one. So if
the
I want
performing
if
of
I
it,
want
yeah.
the thrill of an opening night audience receiving something I've rehearsed for 4
You
weeks,
can't get that on a set.
I'm not going to get that.
Yeah.
And so if I'm on set feeling like I want that, it's going to always feel like I'm leaving having failed or having had a bad experience.
Yeah.
But it's just setting my expectation different. And I didn't realize I had been doing that until I got to do both, because when I did the film, I was satisfied. I had my theater urges satisfied. So
Right.
none of that was there. So I just got to appreciate the difference of doing the film stuff.
Yeah.
So that's sort of general. What I think I kind of noticed was theater, this is not a rule, this is not really advice, but theater feels like a place for me to be heard. Like if it's about expression, it's like I go to theater and I get heard.
Yeah.
And then on film, it's like a place to be seen. Like you're going to be seen. And that feels like a general difference. I don't know if I would adjust my acting for that, but I do adjust my expectation of what is going to be happening.
But surely the adjustment of that expectation, allowing that to flow through you, to get a little ethereal for a second, will change your expression of it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, again, it's like realizing what kind of party you're at. You know?
I love that.
Is it a house party or is it a cocktail party? Like, what's the vibe, you know?
Yeah.
We drinking champagne or tequila?
And I don't think, I mean, the general stuff, you have to bring it down for film.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking of it that way.
Please, I have so many stark opinions on this. Please
Yeah.
go off. Please go
Well,
off.
I think, so they say less is more.
They do say that.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that.
Thank you.
Because I don't want to do less.
Yeah.
I want to do a lot.
Like who's gonna say that Jack Nicholson is too big, or
Yeah, or-
Jim Carrey
yes.
is too big?
Yes, or they're not doing tons.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like less of something and more of something. So it's not less is more, it's less and more. So turn down this and turn up that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you get to do more of something,
Yeah.
Right.
just maybe not what they're saying less of.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a casting director. I believe you pronounce his name Jim Haber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce his last
There's
name.
Isn't there a Margie Haber?
Potentially.
Maybe she's
I'm not as well connected as you are, so maybe you know people
I'm
that I
getting
know.
that name. I'll have to look it up. Okay.
Anyways, I saw Jim answer a question directly talking about this notion of the less is more thing, where you have to be small for camera, and he put it in a way that I also think I was in a place in my own craft where this came at me that I needed it, so it really hit home, where you can be big on camera, still being aware of the frame for sure. However, if you're going to be big on the outside and the expression of it on camera, it has to at least come from that big of a place on the inside.
Totally.
If you're being big on the outside as an overcompensation from what you are either not feeling on the inside or from what you are afraid you're not going to feel on the inside, we as an audience who are zoomed in, seeing you in 4K, will be able to tell that it's sugary frosting on top of a cake that hasn't been baked yet.
Yeah.
But if it's coming from that place, we will feel that it has to be that expression. Anything less than that will feel disingenuous. It doesn't mean it has to be a big expression in terms of a yell, but that it's bubbling that much. I think a great example is if you look at Julia Garner in Ozark, there's this one scene where she bursts into Marty's house with a gun and it's like, he killed Wyatt, where is he, who killed him? And she's just yelling at the top of her lungs, and that's on camera, and it's not a close-up, but you look, and there's no doubt that the only way that felt like it had to come out that way was in this ginormous expression of it, and no one says it's too much. No one looks at that and says it's forcing it.
And I think that's true on stage as well. It's
Yes.
just you can get away with it
Yeah.
sometimes on stage. There's shit you can get away with on stage, and there's shit you can get away with on film.
Yeah.
Like you can get away on film. Like
can cheat it.
if you don't have a voice that even can
Yeah.
possibly
Right.
project more than this, no one will ever know. You can do this kind of acting, and you could do like good work, and no one will ever know that you can't actually
Project
fill a
that.
house.
Yeah.
Because you can get away with it. No, but on film, does it serve you to have a really supple, flexible voice with a lot of range? Yes, it does. So you need those skills. Those skills are absolutely transferable. It's just there's different shit you can get away with. That's why I think with acting training, the skills are the same.
Yeah.
Actually.
For TV and film, you mean.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And that kind of leads into something that you've talked about, not just with your recent interview with Douglas, but in other stuff, this idea of revelatory work versus showing. And I would love to get your articulate, nuanced unpacking of that, because I think we all understand these concepts of, don't show it. But how can you tell the difference when someone is revealing something versus showing or presenting? Because we all go through the insecurity of, I want people to see this part of the character or myself, and I don't know if they're going to see this part of the character or myself. So the insecurity becomes let me present it and show it to you. Where does it cross the line from that versus revelatory work, as you've phrased it in the past?
Well, to me, it's like what you were just talking about, actually, in terms of film and theater. The problem for a theater actor on film is that on film you feel like you're giving the performance, and when you're giving the performance as a theater actor, you've had 3.5, 4 weeks of rehearsal.
Yeah.
So you'll rush yourself to the product. It's like, oh shit, it's opening night. I have to give
Get
my
there.
performance.
Yeah.
So that you have done all of this work to craft something by opening night. And all of that work is there, like in the cake that you've baked, it's all there. And so when you say your line that you've prepared, it has, and you can have certain rhythms, you can have certain timing that you've worked out.
Yeah.
And it'll all either land or it doesn't, but it's full. If you try and do that in film, you are lying. Because you're pretending that you've done all of this work, weeks of rehearsal. You have not done that. So you just got to think of, like, when you're on film, just imagine it's the first day of rehearsal and they're rolling camera on you.
Yeah.
And you're about to say your line for the first time. What you have to do this revelatory work, if I say it that way, is include the truth of that moment, which is, I've never said this before.
It feels weird to say.
I don't know how to say it.
Right, the right way to do it.
I don't know the right way to do it. And so...
Which the character probably doesn't know what the right thing to do is anyways.
And maybe these theater actors do that in rehearsal, but the audience isn't there.
Yeah.
So they don't have that extra defensive shell making them lie, or making me. I'm the one.
Yeah.
I tend to lie by going like, whatever I do to make it seem like I know what the hell I'm doing when I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's, to me, the to be able to include the I don't know, include the effervescence and nerves that come around I don't know, that's the revelatory thing. That's showing what you don't want to show. The things, if you're embarrassed in life, you want to hide and shrink away. An actor, to be revelatory, needs to be able to expose the thing that you would hide.
Right. Because that's what's interesting, right? Because you don't see that in day-to-day life.
Yeah,
so
because people hide it.
Of course.
Because why
yeah.
wouldn't you? Like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel ashamed of my lack of
Knowing.
lack of knowing.
Yeah.
Why is everyone looking at me? I don't know. And so to include that, I think, is the building blocks of something revelatory, because it includes something true that you don't have control over, that is just pumping through your body at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you think the training associated with getting better at that is specifically actor training, or is that more like a life thing?
Like life experience and just
Yeah.
living?
Yeah. I mean,
Like for example, I've heard you talk before about how earlier on in your career you were cast as bullies, which I find is interesting when you're someone that's been bullied. And so when you're taking on, you have to find that part of yourself that understands what that person is going through, but then you end up taking on this person that you've been on the receiving end of, and so that person makes you feel like you have to hide, but your job is asking you to reveal.
Whoa, yeah.
How do you? It's a little meta there, but how do you approach something like that? How do you have empathy for for your perpetrator?
Wow, yeah. Whew. That's interesting because I'm starting to play sort of characters that would be described on the outside as villains again now.
Like it's come full circle.
It's come full circle.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, this past few years, that's happening again.
Wow.
Like I got a film in TIFF this year, and I play a pretty despicable.
What's it called?
It's called Nika and Madison.
Nika and Madison,
Yeah.
TIFF 2025.
Yeah, I can't wait to. I haven't seen it. I saw it in ADR. I saw some stuff that looked pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. So
Great.
we'll see. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. That feels very fresh to me to be doing that. But I mean, the best wisdom would suggest that no one thinks they're. It's funny. I remember being a kid, the bullies in my school.
Yeah.
I'm like, you watch The Sandlot too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I think about The Sandlot too.
Who are you voting?
Who
When
do you
you're
think
watching
you
Little
are?
Giants, who are you voting for?
Yeah.
Like, who are you rooting for?
Yeah.
Because you're acting just like the bullies.
the bullies.
So there's no way that if you're out there, Ryan Sr. His name is Ryan Sr. And I just we were kids.
Yeah.
I would love to find this guy now. He never did anything awful to me.
Well, it's funny you bring up Ryan Sr.
Bring it
because
up.
Ryan, come on in here, man.
This guy, he never did anything awful, but from my point of view, he was a bully.
the worst.
But I'm sure from his point of view, I was like annoying, threatening him in some way.
Right.
And he needed to shut me down.
And he was looking at that going, have you not seen Sandlot?
Seen the
like, who are
Like
you
you're
rooting
obviously
for?
Yeah, because you don't know what threatens someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
I was a very loud, sort of obnoxious kid. I always, and I was really excited. I was like a theater kid.
Yeah.
I was exuberant and I think maybe that was threatening to people. So he might have been scared.
Yeah.
He might have felt scared of me.
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, we'll find him and we'll
find
get
him, yeah.
back to you.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure he's watching this podcast.
gonna hash this out.
Trying to...
So I do want to talk a little bit about, you've been in this industry over 2 decades, you said, since you were a kid, and
Yeah.
you've been working consistently. You had a stint in New York for a little bit, right?
Yeah, spent some time there.
Yeah. So we wanted to touch on, the decision to stay in Canada, to move to the States, to work in the States.
Yeah.
And, what influences those decisions? Do
Yeah.
you want to add on to that?
Well, there's just a common conversation, especially among Canadian actors, like, oh, got to get to the States.
I got to get to
When
the
you
States to have to level up my career, to get to that next level.
Yeah.
But you've been able to work consistently, and you did have a stint in New York, but for the most part, you've stayed in Canada. No,
I was there just mostly training. I didn't really.
So there you go, yeah.
I've worked in the States, but only on projects that I booked from here.
here, right?
I've auditioned down there, but I've never actually gotten the paperwork to be able to audition and work down there.
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like if you made the decision that you wanted to apply for an O1 visa, you have the resume, you have the project.
I think I
you would
could
have a
make
really
that happen,
pretty
yeah.
good case. So
Yes.
is the decision to stay in Canada an intentional choice? Do you think there's value in going to the States as a Canadian actor?
Yeah, I think there's value. Yes, I think it's been true up until now. I think it's been true that if you go there, there's not. I think there's a perception that you've leveled up, but also you've done something. You've decided to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
You've decided to go. I'm moving just. It's like I'm going on Shark Tank. I'm saying, hey, I've got an idea for a business. Me.
Yeah.
That's a big thing
Yeah.
to say. And I think for an actor to be able to do that, that does level up your game.
Yeah.
And to be frank, I think if I have had a failing in the past, it was I didn't feel that kind of ambition. I wasn't willing to bet on myself in that way, to be honest. I was I didn't think which is why I like teaching and coaching and why I liked casting. because I often would go, well, I'm like, I love to act, but I would love to see this person in this part. I would see someone else instead of me all the time, which is the worst thing you can do. You got to believe hard. You got to believe hard. And I feel like if you're great at believing, that is a good skill as an actor, to believe in yourself in that way. And I think I lacked that, and I'm currently developing a different version of that, I think.
Yeah. Now, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted. So you said you've lacked that, but now
Yeah.
you've worked towards a place where you have that confidence in yourself, that belief in yourself.
And it is now to do with staying here and going like, I love this city, I love this country. I would love to work anywhere in the world, to be honest.
yeah.
But
Right.
but I know that things can be done here that have yet to be done, and I'm excited by that.
Yeah.
And I love getting to work with actors in a teaching, coaching capacity.
Yeah.
And it's like, another thing Joe would say, like a rising tide lifts all boats.
He says that all the time.
I don't think I
Rising
got-
tides lift all ships.
Yes.
So I don't think I got that from Joetown, but I remember doing work with Joetown, and he said it, and I went, "This guy."
Yeah.
All
This
this
guy
time,
gets it.
I thought this was the guy that came up with
I
that.
didn't get it from Joetown. Just said.
Which is why I'm glad you're doing
Joe
this.
got it from me.
You know, to actually go like, let's take an interest in what's happening here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I am pretty passionate about that, and I feel the kind of passion and excitement that I didn't feel around I'm gonna go to LA and make it.
Yeah.
I felt a desperation, not to go to LA, but to go to New York at one point. I'm like, I need it. I need it.
We're both
Me-
fans of New
me
York.
right now, bro.
my
Yeah,
God,
I
yeah.
lived in New York for 4 years. Like, I feel you.
Yeah, I knew that. And
Yeah.
I
I
felt
can feel
that.
it in my feet.
Yes, exactly. I feel it
Yeah.
coming through my feet, and I still go to New York all the time for that. Like, I think, yeah.
We went recently earlier this year, the two of us and another buddy, we took a trip just to go see Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
only there 2 weeks ago, man.
Wait, whoa.
Dude.
Can we talk about that for
We
a second?
we sure can.
And
So,
Incredible.
how was Bill Burr?
So you know what's crazy? Bill Burr was so amazing.
Yeah.
However, I think Bill Burr speaks and exists in a very David Mamet style
Yes.
of speaking.
Yes.
So part of me is like, obviously so much work went into this. Obviously they rehearsed.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Bill Burr had to rehearse because it just sounds like these words
Just came
should have been
naturally,
coming
yeah.
out of his mouth.
Perfect. Well, that's great.
But my favorite part, we've like talked about this.
Oh my God, the
So,
Kieran Culkin on the couch.
oh my God, we're gonna
oh my
get
God,
into
oh my
this.
God, I can't wait.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the play Glengarry Glen Ross starts with basically 3 monologues. Like there's 3 scenes that make up Act 1 in introducing the 3 like main characters. Scenes 1 and 2, the secondary character or the second character in the scene may have a couple of interjecting lines here and there. Third scene, it's a 15-minute monologue.
Yeah.
And what was so cool is I saw in one moment, and I caught it like a
I'm
few.
so jealous. Why? I wish I had gone. Oh, so keep going.
I'm sure it'll come back. There was one moment, and I don't know if this is true. I haven't spoken to Kieran Culkin. This is like my
I
perspective.
spoke to him, so I'll let you know after.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so they're in these like banquettes in this restaurant, and he's leaning over the banquette to talk to the other guy. And you have to have this high energy, and he's just going. And
Yes.
if you've seen the movie, it's the role that Al Pacino plays.
Yes.
And you can just tell about halfway through he's losing steam. Yeah.
Right.
No, literally, that was my. I literally,
eight
Yeah.
shows a week.
literally,
It's like, this
and,
is hard.
And this was on like a Wednesday or whatever
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
and I literally, Jared was sitting next to me. I like grabbed his I was like, oh my god,
he's losing steam.
You can tell he's losing steam, and then I could tell that he could tell he was losing steam.
God,
And
oh
at
my
one
God.
point, he's leaning over the banquette, and he just goes at the end of a sentence. And now his next line happens to be, so on that note, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And that accepting of I'm fucking exhausted.
Literally what you were just talking about.
It
Just being
got-
honest with
it-
what you're feeling.
It got
and
the
just,
biggest laugh of the show,
Wow.
even though he is acting opposite Bill Burr, arguably one of the funniest people on the planet.
Okay. You've got to get Culkin on the show
we would love
We will
to.
work on it. Our people are currently
because you got to
reaching out.
ask him if that's
Oh,
true.
Kieran,
I
if you're
will.
watching,
Now, what's cool is that part of me is like, I wonder what happened at intermission when he went backstage. Probably like, fuck this, oh, god damn. But like,
Yeah, right.
I love that he didn't do this show. To me, this shows like artistry and professionalism and a willingness for revelatory work.
Right.
Because in that moment, he didn't do the thing that a lot of actors do, where they try to basically keep their head above the water and like
Right. Start
pretend that
over
every
pushing.
and
overcompensate it and push.
and pretend
and-
everything's okay. He let him. He surrendered to the sinking feeling. Let that be a part of it, not knowing if it was good or not. Now, obviously, this is, for all I know, it was planned. And he's just effing good.
He's literally watching this clip being like, those fucking idiots.
But the other thing that was cool, and it was a good reminder for me, is that in the second act, there was a moment where he's going at one of the other characters, telling this character that he's, you know, a boy amongst men, and he, you know, he doesn't have the right to work with men and stuff like that. And the guy he's talking to is like a good foot taller than him. It's played by a buff dude. And Kieran Culkin's literal like stature felt very, not immature, but childlike. And so in that moment, I was like, this isn't really, this is interesting for me. This like isn't working. But as I was having that thought, there was a couple right in front of me. And as there was, I can't remember what line it was, but Kieran Culkin has a line. And the woman just goes, and I went, oh, fuck me.
Yeah, right.
Clear, like, that moment was for her.
Right.
And so even though I didn't feel revelatory work in that moment the same way I felt the revelatory work in the moment of the first act, it still resonated with an audience member, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Well, to piggyback off that, it's actually interesting because, you know, Kieran Culkin's his register, his voice is fairly high. So when he was saying, you know, you're a boy amongst men and this and that, we talked about this a little bit. It almost came off like a little whiny, maybe. Because with Al Pacino, he has that like gravitas, like you know, like Al Pacino.
Also, our most recent association of Kieran Culkin is Succession,
right?
So there's that.
What about A Real Pain?
Oh my god.
Well, I personally didn't see A Real Pain until after.
Okay.
After that.
When did that? Because I don't know if I saw it before or after. When did it come out? Do we know?
That was like
it was last year.
Last winter.
So I must have seen it prior to.
No, you're saying if it came out before or after we went to New York? I believe it came out before we went to New York. I just didn't see the film.
So
until
I definitely
after.
saw it, and he was great in that. That was a beautiful film.
Yeah.
But you're saying your frame of reference basically was Succession.
So that's how we felt.
So again, like the physical size difference of him saying that, but also his voice having that higher register, it really did, in my opinion, it was a bit harder to buy into, you know, Al Pacino having that gravitas of that manly, you know.
Yeah, but it still worked, man.
No, that's cool.
But again, to your point, it still affected the people in front of us.
Exactly, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
But side tangent of that aside, New York, the States, is that something that...
Yeah, we kind of...
I know, I mean, we can totally go off on a tangent there. Is that something that is now... not necessarily in your immediate future, but something that is on your radar of like, I'm feeling something bubbling within?
No, not really. If something took me down there, I would go. But I really do feel passionate about what's going on here, and us sort of having that confidence in ourselves, and sort of. Yeah, like taking the big swings and doing the kind of work that is emblematic of betting on yourself.
Yes.
Like every time you have an audition, you've got an opportunity to bet on yourself.
Right.
Or you could do the opposite and be like, oh God, what do they want?
Yeah.
You know, or try to, like you said, try to prove yourself. If
Right.
you're trying to prove, it means okay, I maybe I'm not this, but I'm gonna see if I can prove that I am, and maybe give them what they want. And it becomes this really servile, like fading away, erasing yourself exercise.
Yeah.
Versus, like I was saying about the actor that goes, I'm gonna get in a car, drive to Los Angeles, sleep in my car until I book a job. That's a betting on yourself thing to do.
Right.
And we can do that.
We totally can.
Right where we are.
Now,
Absolutely.
do you think it's... I would say, I mean, obviously it's changed, but with, you know, since COVID, with self-tapes, I feel like now a lot more Canadians can be seen for American projects because a lot of it is self-tapes, right? You don't have to actually physically be there to get the opportunities.
Said the American.
You're American?
Half American, yeah. You're like, what the fuck are you doing here, bro? Go to New York.
I mean, that's the other side.
He's a Philly guy.
If I was a
Go
dual
Birds.
citizen,
Go Birds.
I would be going back and forth. I
Bro,
would be like,
I've
absolutely.
been telling
So I am not in the process, but, you know, Chanel, if you watch the podcast, you know.
He and his girlfriend recently went to New York, and
it was
for him
her
it was
first
like
time going to New York.
Oh,
and it was like
shit.
he wanted to like test it for her
How
to be like how she
mind-blowing
liked
is
it.
that?
Oh
First
yeah,
time in New York.
yeah. We saw the MJ show; it was incredible.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, she likes it, and I'm hoping maybe one day we move there.
Yes.
But I've been grateful. I signed with a new agent like just over a year ago, and she's incredible. Alex, you're the best. And she's been getting me some American auditions.
Nice.
So part of me is like, obviously, I would love to be there, and I want to train in New York. I want to be in that environment.
Yeah.
But another part of me is like, I could also just audition from Toronto in the meantime, you know, and try to build up a name there. So
Yeah. But
It's
there
this
is something to
weird-
be said for, especially in New York, like being there, being affected by that place.
Yeah.
You know, if you're someone, and I think if you're an actor, you are someone who is got like has that kind of, what do you call, like sponge like
Yeah.
take
You
on.
feel rhythms.
Yeah, and
Energy
culture
and-
and like, and so you go there for a bit and you take that on, and it
Yeah.
can really give you a dose of that kind of I'm walking here shit. you know?
Yeah. Well, I also think it would be interesting, even if I didn't move there permanently, but just to go there and see how they do things down there.
Yeah.
And then bring that energy back here. I feel like would be a big way to kind of stand out
Yes.
amongst the crowd.
What you were
right?
saying
Of-
before about how I said that I was scrappy,
Yeah.
I learned that in New York.
Uh-huh.
I do think that while I learned a lot of, like, my base as an actor in New York, and I would say my training in Toronto has, for me personally, has been a lot better. But I do think the scrappiness is the thing that I developed the most in New York. You
Right.
have to.
Yeah,
And it's because, like, as you know, a lot of people are like, oh, we're too Canadian, we're too nice, we're too this, we're too that. But I feel like it's such a blanket.
I'm a meanie.
But I feel like it's such a blanket statement of like all Canadians are like the same as like, oh, all Americans are abrasive and assholes and this and that. And it's like they're definitely not. It just depends who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other problem is that we don't have stories that lift up the characters that you find in our towns and cities. You know,
Ooh, unpack that.
well, like we're starting to, and they do it in French Canada, and even something like Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because
That's a great point.
even if you go see an improv show in Toronto and they're going to play characters, they're going to put on Brooklyn accents, Southern accents, Valley Girl accents. Our characters, our archetypes in our stories, because we've been fed American stories for so long, are American archetypes. What about, and it's starting to happen, but like Scarborough, like how you sound when you're from Brampton or from Scarborough is a
Very
thing.
different, yeah.
And it's starting to be put on the map. And if we can start making films, and I think we are, I think it's
You can feel the wheel starting to turn.
yes,
Yeah.
like Office Movers, like there's TV happening.
The film
Brothers?
Brother.
Yeah.
Brother.
What's that?
It was in TIFF, I think 2023, 2024 is I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Clement Virgo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It starred. Oh gosh, this is terrible. I should know all these names.
Well, we can look it up, and then you can pretend that you just knew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we
it's
cut this-
fine.
cut this
No,
part.
no. We will keep this in. We are greenlit and grounded, baby. But it was like a Canadian story. Took place in Toronto. I believe it took place in Scarborough.
Oh, I
it was
gotta
about
watch
these
this.
brothers in Scarborough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful to see, not a story like we are Toronto. This is Toronto. We're making a Toronto story.
yeah.
It just happened to take place in Toronto.
Blackberry was like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That movie was so awesome.
I know so many who went to go see Blackberry because they're like, I literally went to high school right there.
Yeah. And that movie was killer, so good.
Yeah.
And again,
Canadian peeps.
and also a story with global impact. That just happened here, and lots
Yeah.
of stuff has happened here with global impact. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So talk to me a little bit. We sort of touched on it, but this whole mindset stuff. And you can, if it's up to you if you want to talk about it with respect to when you're on a job acting or whether you're auditioning. But what is the work of mindset as it pertains to longevity in this industry? Because so much of this industry can be misconstrued as, there's the fame, there's the social media following, there's the visuals of it all, which is all very alluring and appealing.
Yeah.
But the notion of mindset, why is that such important work in your opinion that other actors should take on?
Well, when the U.S. Olympic team goes to the Olympics, what is that? Like, I don't know, like 90 athletes? How many? It's something like that.
I have no idea.
Brother, I have no idea.
I knew the numbers at one point with the last Olympics, and let's say it was 90 Olympics.
Sure.
There was 9 professional sports psychologists that went with them.
Yeah.
So that means 1 in 10
Yeah.
of the people that went over was a person whose job it is to help these athletes perform at their best. It wasn't one sports psychologist.
Yeah.
It wasn't someone who read a sports psychology book.
Yeah.
You know,
You had a team.
you had a team,
Like a physiotherapy team or a medical team.
Absolutely. Taking that seriously. Not to mention the physiotherapists, the
Strength coaches,
the people that are taking their body seriously. Now, actors, we work with our body, we work with our voice, we work with our mind. I would argue we work with our mind. The balance is skewed more to mind work than an athlete.
Yes, I agree with that.
Right? Just like there is skewed more to body work.
Right,
yeah.
right.
You know? And so I might not need to sit in ice for 3 hours after I do my thing, like, you know, LeBron James does or whatever, to recover.
Yeah.
But I might have to do something up here
The
because
equivalent.
I'm using my whole nervous system and psychology as part of this thing I'm creating. I'm using my imagination. And so then I'm out of work for 3 months and I'm struggling, you know, and I'm also you talk to people that do regular jobs and go for job interviews and don't get a job.
Oh my God, they're crushed.
They're crushed.
They're crushed. There was like a TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok. My sister sent this to me, where there was someone who was posting a video on TikTok talking about how they went on like 100 interviews and how the interview burnout of it all, and like 90% of the comments were from people being like, "Welcome to the arts."
Yeah. And so it's legitimately stressful.
Yeah.
And in the struggle of it, and then it's legitimately stressful in the execution of the job. Like if you're doing a 14-hour shoot day and you need to be able to harness your attention to be attuned to the moment for the 30-second climax of the whole film as the sun is going down. We got to get that in the next take.
Yeah.
This is that moment. That is all mind work.
Everything.
You know, and if
That's the countdown of the clock at the end of the fourth.
yes,
You know, for that final shot.
absolutely. And so the pressure can be immense, and just taking that seriously and starting to train that changed everything for me.
And so-
absolutely everything.
Can we talk about like how do you train that? What does that actually look like?
And what are some resources for something like that? Because it's something that you I'm passionate about it as well.
Yeah.
But what would you say about that?
Yeah, well, I would say go to Performer's Mindset. I would say
Shout out Joseph Ariel Town.
you know-
I agree. The dude's amazing.
I will look it up right
and
after
there,
this
and,
pod.
and if you go on their website, there's all kinds of resources. All the books I've read are there.
What are some of the books?
Okay, Talent Code by Daniel Dennett. There's this illusion that
We'll make sure to reach out to them and get sponsored by them.
there's this illusion that talent is something you're born with, right? But it actually has to do with the way specific communities have trained. Something that looks like magic, usually, even if it's not done on purpose, the circumstances have led to a kind of training. Like, the elevation of where you live means that you can run with a different level of oxygen, which does something different to your CO2 max. But it's like, if you know that, you could be like, oh, this person's just magic. Or you could go, oh, I can just train that way by changing the elevation, changing the level of oxygen, blah, 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 blah. So Talent Code would be one. Atomic Habits would be another. The idea of getting what it takes to actually improve at something, 1% better over time.
Yeah, that's that growth mindset.
Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year.
Boom.
Dang, that's it.
And so you overestimate what you can do in a week, you fail, and then you give up over and over and over again, and you get nothing done in a year.
Yeah.
But if you go, if I just do this little thing, it's not impressive. You can't be
It's
like,
not fancy.
You know what I did today? I meditated for 5 minutes. It's like, that seems like nothing.
Yeah.
But the
Do that every day.
cumulative
Oh my
value,
God.
if you did that for a year, which people do not do.
Yeah. It's going to the gym.
Exactly. It's going to the gym. But I feel like most people, myself, have an ego about it. And it's like, I want to do something fucking massive.
Right.
You know?
Probably to show or to prove or, have worthiness around it.
Well, one time I went up the stairs of the CN Tower. This was for the World Wildlife Fund. This was this was a, what do you call? Fundraiser. And I was halfway up. I was in my early 20s. It was killing me.
Yeah.
Every step is up.
As steps are.
Not always. You can go down steps.
I guess that's
I mean,
true.
yes. I mean, it's just like, I
Could
don't
you
know,
take the
it was
elevator down?
87 flights. You took the elevator
Okay,
down.
good.
But the fastest in the world did it in 7 minutes. It took me 27, I think, 26
Wow.
minutes. Halfway up, I saw someone who was they were out of shape, and they were in their like late 40s or maybe 50s. And they were like, it looked like they were about to pass out. They were collapsed and someone was fanning them. And I was like, hey, I'm like a 20-year-old kid and this is killing me. What were you thinking? Like, why are you halfway up the CN Tower? You know, that story came to my mind because it's this overestimation and this needing to do something major to I don't know.
Let me bench press 350.
Yes.
Yeah.
When really it's like, if you just do something incremental over time,
Yeah.
that can make big differences, but you got to get your ego out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Those are 2 books.
Yeah.
speaking on ego, you want me to take this one?
Go for it.
You've done all types of roles. You know, actor roles, smaller parts, bigger parts. You had a huge role on Suits. You know, I think with some actors, there's this mentality of, okay, I've done the actor stuff. I'm only going out for like lead role or supporting from this point on. What is your stance on that? 'Cause it seems like you're willing. You just said earlier, like you're just happy to work. You know, you're a little bit more scrappy like that. You're just happy to have the opportunity to be on set. How do you feel about that mentality of, well, if I want to forge a career and do this full time, I can't take a step back. And if I've been doing
Or
supporting
do you view
roles,
it as a step back?
yeah, like, you know, some people are like, I'll only do supporting roles and above. You know, I've done the guest stars. I don't want to do that anymore. Do you think that serves a career? Do you think, you know, this industry's all about, you know, who you know, what you know, the networking, this, that, and the other. But it really seems there is no one way to go about it.
Yeah, and the industry has changed a lot. Like this guy was just on a podcast. This guy I knew from Breaking Bad was just on a podcast, and he was talking. So here's a journeyman actor. And he was on a bunch of other shows that I knew him from, and I'm forgetting his name right now.
Time out. You mean journeyman actor mean like he's a lifer?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking that term. I love that.
What?
A journeyman. I've never heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
A journeyman actor. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I knew what you meant just based off of like a journeyman like in the NHL.
Yeah,
I know, I
I'm born
I don't know. That sends a tickle down my spine. I like
Okay,
it.
well, it's all yours.
Yeah, great.
That's the name of this podcast now, the journeyman actor.
Yeah.
He was saying that he was talking to an agent friend of his who said, all of my offer-only clients are just not working.
Not working.
The industry has really changed remarkably. And it's the next 5-10 years, it's going to be unprecedented what we're seeing.
New terrain.
New terrain entirely with the implications of AI.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If you can read, if you're like some brilliant forecaster and you can read the room and make your play and it works
Predict the
out,
economy.
Yeah. Great.
Great.
If you want to say, listen, I work for my base rate and I don't do it for less. If you want to do that, go ahead. Like, I don't know. I think it depends on why you're doing it.
Yeah.
If you really are, for me, if it's to protect your self-respect and your love of the thing. Like, I just started saying no to auditions. I thought I couldn't.
Like recently, you just started saying no.
Yeah.
Like, I would be
You
like,
thought you couldn't say no?
yeah, I thought I couldn't
Damn.
say. Just my mentality of like, your agent sent it, you've got to.
You have to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember like when I started saying no, I would like send this big long excuse like,
Apologize.
Hey, yeah, I'd be apologizing.
Hey, I just didn't like. I didn't really feel like I appreciate the opportunity.
I
but
know you worked really hard to pitch me for it.
And they're just like, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
and they just like, cool. And I was like, really? You know, and
That's it. That's
and
it.
now I'm like, I'll get a thing and I'll be like, I'm going to pass on this. Like, great. You know, I'm like, oh, I guess I can do that.
But do you feel that every actor at every point in their career has that power? Okay.
No,
So that's something you've developed over the course of 20 years of your career.
Right. But I probably developed it before I started taking advantage of it.
Fair enough.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so there was a piece of me, this scared, not betting on myself, servile, like, is it okay if I,
Right.
Yeah.
Canadian, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sorry that you stepped on my foot. That's just not going to serve you. I was in a room, and again, the industry has changed. This was years ago now. I was in a room with a casting director who shall remain nameless, and they were complaining about this actor. I know the actor. And they were like, they're going, he won't do the callback. And like the producers want him and he won't do this callback. And it was for a lead in a series. And I was like, I heard that. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah. He was like, you saw my thing. Here's my my reel.
Here's how I would do it.
I'm offer only, essentially.
Right.
And the casting director was so upset. I'm like, wow, that guy's crazy. He's gonna lose this job. He did that job, and he did that show for years.
Wow.
And so I'm like, wow, he
Power move.
He did a power move, and he reversed it. And it didn't matter how mad the casting director was. And I don't know if that helped him get the part or that made him. Who knows?
Right. And that's what. I
But
was
he
gonna
stood
ask,
up for
right?
himself,
Like,
and he owned his zone.
Now, that doesn't mean you should be a dick to casting. It doesn't mean, say, hey, I'm only going to do one audition,
Yeah,
ever.
I would never do that.
That's it. But in that particular actor's career, on their journey, it felt appropriate to them in that moment.
Yes. I listen, I have no industry advice. I don't do career coaching. When I coach with actors, I'm like, I love acting. I want to help us make our acting compelling and exciting and fun and make a story that people want to watch and lean in and like feel alive. I love that. When someone's like, which agent should I go with? I'm like, I don't fucking know at all.
Yeah.
But I will say that these industry things that you have to engage with are part of the spark. And if it gives you an exciting spark,
that's a good barometer.
That's a good barometer. And if it feels like it's snuffing out your flame, that's gonna, because when you walk into a room or when you make a tape, you gotta be fucking alive and sparking and full. And so if you can have that, I interviewed Matthew McConaughey once, and I was like,
you interviewed Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, man.
Years ago,
Why?
I worked at CBC. I worked on was it at CBC? I
Right,
worked as a
alright,
host
alright.
of a
Matthew
show.
McConaughey was on CBC?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
It was like a junket, like he was doing a movie, whatever, press
yeah.
junket, and I went down to Los Angeles and interviewed him in a room like this.
Great.
And I was like, holy shit, like, whoa, like
He's so bright.
the way, the vibration of that, and it doesn't feel like massive arrogance.
No.
But it does feel like
Palpable.
It does feel like you're owning that space with this kind of easy confidence, and you can say no.
Yeah.
And and I think that's useful to have.
now, do you think that confidence comes? I don't want to use the word stardom. Maybe I'll say experience. Having the experience that he has. He's a household name. People know Matthew McConaughey.
I don't think so.
No? You think
No.
it's just a personal choice? Because I'm sure there are people that are very successful that don't feel they have that. They don't feel they've unlocked that mentally.
Have you met David Reale? So he's this guy.
But I feel like there's also people that shouldn't have that confidence that do, right? There's a false sense of confidence too.
Yeah, and I would say it's just not real confidence. Like so again from the mindset stuff.
Yeah.
Like real confidence has to do with how you talk to yourself. It's not about winning. It's not about being better than other people. It's about what do you say in your head when things are going good, and what do you say in your head when things are going bad.
That's so crazy because literally in my bag right now I have a copy of The Inner Game of Tennis.
Inner Game of Tennis. That's the book.
I'm literally like I read it in COVID when I worked with the Performer's Mindset because of them.
Yes.
And now I'm revisiting it.
So that was the book I read before I met Performance Mindset guys.
Yeah.
And that was one of the ones that made me go like, we got to apply this to
Something.
acting.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
Just because you were mentioning how the industry has shifted. So some people may already know because I'm sure you have been asked about this a great deal in your life. For those of you who don't know, Mean Girls Glen Coco.
Yes, that's me.
And I think I don't want to get it wrong. So what was this question has a purpose to it, but what was the story of how you got that role? Because I feel like I remember you talking about how it wasn't like an audition for Glen Coco.
I had auditioned for one of the boyfriends.
Right.
I think it was the part that my friend Dan got.
Mm-hmm.
And
So how did you end up on that set?
yeah, I just went to set because I had friends who were on it, and I was like, I'm just gonna show up,
Right.
just to get some free food. Like I was 19, I was living in Toronto, I had no money, and you could just get free food on a set.
And there's so many people no one actually knows.
Yeah, no one's gonna know. What,
Yeah.
But you can't do that really anymore. Like you show up to a set that you're not a part of.
Oh yeah.
Multiple people within 10 feet of you getting out of your car or walking on set are going to be like, hey, do you need to check in? What's the deal?
Especially since COVID, because things
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel the industry has shifted in terms of things you used to be able to get away with that maybe we should bring it back or you wish more actors did do? Or what things were you not able to do that? Now it's shifted because we can and things have opened up.
Well, I think the biggest thing that's opened up is just you can make a movie for $10, like with your phone.
Yeah.
Like when I was Glenn Coco, that was not a thing. Smartphones didn't exist.
Right.
And so,
Do you really feel that though, that people can make because I feel like everyone talks about making a film with their iPhone and no one does, because you then make a film with your iPhone, you're like, oh wait, I need a better lens. Oh wait, I need better sound. Oh wait, I need better this.
yeah, and if it lights a fire and you find it exciting to do, you'll keep doing, you'll keep getting better at it.
Gotcha.
But if you feel like I'll be able to make a movie when I have the best camera,
You're never gonna.
you're never gonna do anything.
Okay, great.
But I do think, yeah, that, like, again, those Office Movers guys, people are getting TV shows and stuff
Yeah.
through having a YouTube channel where they do funny characters or whatever the hell.
I think also like Tall Boys
yeah,
did that as well.
yeah. And so
I mean, Letterkenny too. I mean, it was started out way like when I was like a teenager.
It's like a web series.
Yeah. Well, he would just make videos. Jared Kiso, I think his name is, right?
Yeah.
Jared Kiso,
On YouTube of just like talking shit, and then I don't know at what point it turned into.
Yeah, and I don't
a show
know
with
how
Crave, but-
whatever Jacob Tierney got involved, but he he was a filmmaker. He had made lots of indie films back when indie films were a thing, although they're a thing again.
There's a huge wave of indie films coming back.
I don't
now.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm misspeaking here, but I don't know if it was Sean Baker with Anora that everyone's like, "Oh, indie film's back." But like, I think when he won the Academy Award,
I have a hot take on that.
I think a lot of people were like, "Oh shit."
Well,
okay.
I do think the message of the power of making films, like making your own stuff and not waiting for a big studio budget, is super important.
Yes.
Oh, I think I know what you're getting at here.
I
Okay,
think
go
the
ahead.
love of making films for the love of telling stories and not for the purpose of making money is super important. The one thing that did bother me about it, hot take, that's fine, is like, firstly, yes, you only had like a $6 million budget. You still had $6 million.
Correct.
So
And
Correct.
hang on, they spent $18 million on
and that was the
on
other
marketing,
point.
yeah.
Plus, you had an additional $18 million
Yeah.
on marketing. So you really had a $24 million budget film. That is not micro budget. That the average indie filmmaker who, comparing to the filmmaker making something on their iPhone, most short films, I see people doing a short film campaign and they're trying to raise $2,000, $5,000, 10 or whatever the case is. I did one myself and it was for like $17K or whatever. That's not the same thing as someone who has a $6 million budget or a $24 million budget.
So I will say, I think a true low budget indie that did very well would be like Paranormal Activity. That was a $10,000 budget and it made
usually it's a horror,
a few hundred million. Yeah, I was gonna say Terrifier as well. That's a franchise now. It started out as a short film and then it just got a cult following. People just funded it $10,000 and then I don't know what the second one was, but
I can agree with you and I can put a positive spin on it.
Do it.
Well, I just
Silver
think
lining, baby.
Well, I think it's great that someone with that kind of clout and money made a vote for independent film.
This is why I say I'm the jerk. Like,
No.
he
No,
just
but
made that sound
that's
so
not why,
good.
but
But I, because I had that whole conversation with myself of like, oh, this is bullshit. you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's someone in Hollywood with money going, let's give it to Sean Baker.
keep going.
Let's put let's
Right.
high, because the point of awards is to say, hey, everybody,
Uplift.
look at this thing.
Uplift
Right.
it, yeah.
And so the fact that someone was like, let's get everyone looking at what Sean Baker's doing, because ultimately, if one of his movies was going to win an Academy Award, should have been Florida Project.
100%.
Like that's
no question.
To me, that's the one that rings the bell of a cultural, like something important. Like Honora was a great sort of rom-com, like a brilliant rom-com. But did it win Best Picture? I think it won Best Picture.
It won Best
That's kind of absurd.
she definitely
Nick?
won for sure.
Producer Nick? It did. It won Best Picture.
Well, there you go. Listen, I think it's great. One side of me goes like, that's not the Best Picture. But on the other side, it's like, wow, someone going, everybody look at this.
Yeah.
Let's make these kinds of things again. And if if 6 million is the template, well, then you can get away with a 2 million. You can get away with and then how do you get there? Maybe it's by making your 48-hour film.
Yeah. So yeah, continue on that train of thought of like the shifts in the industry of like what you what you used to be able to do, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think I played my cards very well then. I don't think I'm playing them very
Oh,
well.
you got free food on the set of Mean Girls.
I
That's
got free
pretty
food,
sick.
and I got thrown in the movie.
You're Glenn Coco. You're a cultural icon.
You became a meme before before memes were.
I was like one of the first memes.
Yeah.
And
you were the OG meme.
yes, and can I tell you the millions I've made from that? It's just like money in the bank. If I
Is
had
that why the driver's waiting outside for you?
if I had a nickel for every nickel I made from that film, I would have no money at all.
I would have like 3 nickels, which like isn't a lot, but
Yeah.
it's still 3 nickels.
There's no way I can capitalize on
Yeah.
it, which is kind of beautiful, actually.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
Oh,
Or you did the-
Let's keep going. Let's do
I
3
I have a
hours.
ton of questions, man.
What are we
Don't-
at for time?
1 hour and 10 minutes.
Great. We've gone for an hour and 10 minutes.
And we only got the
Amazing.
studio till 7,
Great.
so we got
That's fine. I'm locked and loaded.
Okay, great.
So there was a.
I want to just say, can we cut out everything I've said so far?
Yes.
Because I just feel embarrassed about it. Let's start
Absolutely.
again fresh
Start
now.
from here.
Yeah.
Okay,
You got it,
ladies
you
and
got
gentlemen.
Yeah, great. Starting fresh. Hey everyone. So you did a film called Bang Bang Baby,
Yes.
and why are you laughing?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
And there's a scene. What's the name of the woman who was the lead of that?
Jane Levy.
Jane Levy. Yes. And so there's a scene where you were playing Fabian.
Yes.
And you were in the car with her. I think it's about a quarter way through the film.
Yes.
And she's drunk and she's like in her, despair of hating life and everything.
Yeah.
And your character's in love with her. And in her drunken stupor, she's talking about how she got into this talent show, but she wants to go to this place. And your character, who's like driving her, because she's like drunkenly, can you take me away from here?
Yeah.
And your character hears that information about how she has these dreams and she wants to do this thing.
Yeah.
And he's like mortified in that moment because he loves her and wants her to stay. And he has this moment where he was like, well, you can't do that. And then like recovers. It's like, well, because it's dangerous and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you had this moment that bro, I must have watched it like 20 times trying to see if I can see it. And I'm curious, you had this moment as you're like hanging onto the steering wheel, you're wearing the glasses, and as you're trying to come up with this explanation as to why she shouldn't or can't go, you like adjusted your glasses. In the same way that when people get uncomfortable, they go, well, and they try to like adjust themselves.
right.
I'm so curious if that adjustment of the glasses was an intentional thing, if that was something pre-planned because you're exploring the physicality of the character, or if that was one of those in-the-moment things, happy accident, the glasses happened to be slipping and I just felt like I needed to readjust them.
I would say I have no recollection, but
I can pull up this.
that's like 10 years ago or more. But I am almost certain that I did that on purpose.
Okay.
That I really wanted to. I was kind of like, it's so funny because I just saw Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But like I was playing with
The musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's I'm forgetting. What's the guy's name?
Marty
plays,
McFly?
Who plays George McFly?
Oh.
He's a really interesting.
I'm gonna look this up.
Um,
You mean in the movie?
Yeah.
We are gonna look this up in real time.
Christoph. What is that
George
man's name?
McFly, actor. George
Oh, I
McFly,
wish I-
actor.
So close. Can I
It
get there before
is
the internet?
Crispin
Crispin Glover.
I got it for
I said Chris. I had Chris. Yeah, I really wanted to pull in because it's set in the 50s.
Yeah.
I'm playing this kind of like nebbish kind of guy, and
Yeah.
I wanted to pull in some.
Oh, you just
some-
unlocked a new
Yeah,
question for
nebbish.
me.
All right, that was a
You
pretty
ju-
Jewish word, wasn't it?
Bro, we're gonna.
Oh.
we got shit to talk
Oh,
about.
good. We can talk about that.
We
yeah.
will.
I'm
coming after you.
Yeah, I'm so game.
Watch David Reale get canceled.
I'm so ready for it. No, I'm so ready for it. So I got a great story about it actually.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me see if I can bring some of that George McFly into it. To be honest,
I love that.
I wish I could. It's so nice for you to hear you talk about that as if I was doing some interesting work in that movie because that's one of those things I'm like, I would love to have that opportunity again.
Yeah.
Because if I have a process, it's changed so much since
I'm
then.
sure.
100%.
I'm sure.
And I can't even because that was an interesting, fun movie. But
it seemed like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was incredibly self-conscious making it.
Which makes sense because he's also incredibly self-conscious.
So maybe it worked.
But that's the thing. You say it's nice of me to think that you were doing good work. Look, I don't know if you were doing good
Right,
work
but it
or
worked.
interesting work.
Right.
I found interest in it.
Okay, good. Okay,
You know,
cool.
But I mean,
Oh,
to your point before, it's like
right.
if you were feeling self-conscious and that served the character for the,
Then that's
the
what
story,
maybe.
then
that's
yes.
the revelatory
You know,
part that
hey,
you were talking about.
And that's at some point you got to go like, I let go. Let's like.
If Jared and Daniel say it's good work, then I guess it's good work.
You kind of like you
I
kind
mean,
of
we are the Nolan and Scorsese
you kind of let it
film
be
critics.
let it be a collaboration, including what the audience gets from it, and just like you said
Yeah.
in New York with the woman in front of you,
Oh my
getting
gosh.
something out of
Yeah.
Kieran Culkin's performance when you're going
Just
like,
in
I
that
don't know.
one moment, I felt like such an asshole
Yeah.
because what the impressing me was not the point.
Right,
of that,
right.
You know.
Yeah.
Now, just because you said Nebuchadnezzar,
Nebuch. Okay,
do
let's
you
do
even
it.
know where I'm going to go with this?
I know exactly where you're going.
Where do you think I'm going with this?
you're going? I've played a lot of Jewish.
You've
characters.
played a lot of Jewish characters, man.
Yeah.
You know what that means? You're taking roles away from us because we're real Jews.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
I
so.
hear you.
Look, I personally don't care about that. That is
Okay.
not something where I go, oh, I think it should be applied equally. I think if people are going to say from a representation perspective that someone from that background should play that role, that should apply to Jewish people as well.
Yeah.
I personally don't really care, but I'm
Yeah.
curious. As someone who has played a lot of Jewish characters,
yeah.
has there been a lot of research into the Jewish culture?
Yes.
Has there been a lot of research into the language, the rhythms? You recently did My Dead Mom with
Yes.
Lauren Collins.
Yes. And I sang in Hebrew in that.
I didn't even see that.
Incredible.
part. I will be looking that up.
Yeah, you should in the Rosh Hashanah episode. You should check it out because you can tell me if I did a good job.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, people have always just thought I was Jewish my whole life.
Really?
Yeah. My whole life.
I see it. You
People
look-
assume all the
That's
time.
racist.
I could say it. I'm Jewish.
If any, like it's happened before where someone has come up to me to be like, this happened in a restaurant. Some older woman came
You
up.
tribe?
Well, just know what she said was,
Are you
I
single?
want to introduce you to
Get
my
out of there! You see how I knew?
Yes. So I knew when she said I want to introduce you to my niece, I knew she thinks I'm Jewish.
100%.
Even though she didn't say I'm Jewish, are you Jewish? I
No,
want to introduce my
I
niece.
knew what was
Just-
going on, and I had to
100%.
say to her,
it's so
"Oh my God,
Jewish.
I'd love to meet your niece, but I'm not Jewish."
And she went,
"Oh
okay."
my God," and yes,
I'm dead. I'm dead.
And when I did a play one time, and I
I'm start
played
calling you Achi.
yeah, I played a Hasidic Jewish kid in this play, and
Yeah.
I went down to Brooklyn, and I met some people, and I hung out, and I really
Yeah.
tried to get a beat on what that actually was, which is different from just being culturally
Brooklyn
Jewish.
Hasidic Jews is very different than the contemporary Jewish community.
It's
Very
entirely
different,
different.
yeah, man.
And so much so that so I went on this tour led by an ex-Hasidic woman who does tours of Williamsburg,
yeah.
and I told her why I was there, and then she introduced me to people, and it was amazing, and I got someone to read my lines and translate
Yeah.
all of the words in it, and help me understand, and so she was like, I told her I was doing this play in Montreal, so she got people to Montreal to come, and so there
Wow.
was some Hasidic people who came to the play, obviously not super strict because
Love
they won't
that.
go to theater, but either they were ex or a more lax sect.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and so I got feedback from them on what I'd done. So look, I've played a lot of Jewish characters. I don't know what it is. I've always felt at home in that world.
We're
And-
a welcoming people.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You can come over for Shabbat dinner any night.
But
Anytime.
I will say, if there was one time, some people that I knew were making this comedy, this kind of like indie comedy, and it was a very they were playing with racial tropes as part of the comedy.
Yeah.
And my friend who was Asian, he was going to be in it, and he was one of the writers, and so there was and everyone was getting it, and they wanted me to play this character who was Jewish.
Jewish.
And I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because no one creating the show is Jewish.
Yeah.
Anytime I've been playing a Jewish character, it's a team of Jewish
Writers or
and
producers,
creators.
yeah.
You also did. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting her name, but Shayna
Yeah, Silverbears.
Silverbeard.
Yes.
What was the project you guys worked on together?
Less than kosher.
Less than kosher. Yeah,
I played
exactly.
the son of a rabbi.
So if you have someone like Shayna working on that
Yes.
and asking you to do, that's different because you have that Jewish voice uplifting
Yes.
the realism of it.
And I don't know if this Shayna sort of did me a solid, maybe. She didn't tell the writer, her co-writer and director, that I wasn't Jewish. Because I went in and I sang a
What'd you sing?
Jewish hymn.
Oh my God, what'd you sing?
I forget now.
That's rude.
Yeah.
Havana Yila?
It's years ago, but like, and she knew I wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How do you feel about the vowel or the sound?
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah,
man.
I see why people buy it now.
Yeah,
I-
that's not bad.
I have been Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Like
Okay, so you are a Jew.
It's better than you, man.
I have been doing it since I was young,
yeah.
a lot, and yeah. So there, I do have standards.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm being cast by someone who is Jewish,
Right.
they're making that free choice.
Yeah.
sure.
And they're going to protect the authenticity of the character
100%.
from any of my ignorance.
Right.
But if I'm supposed to represent the culture and there's no one there
That's
Yeah.
like a voice
can't-
of reason or has that
can't- yeah.
experience. Yeah.
I feel like I can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, I do think the attitudes around this have changed. And I think for good reason.
Yeah.
And I was offered recently something just this past week.
Mazel tov.
And someone when they
That was stupid.
when they made the offer, they referenced that play I did years ago.
Yeah.
Where I played the Hasidic kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the writer is this Jewish guy I know, legendary. I'll tell you about it after. And I wrote back and I said, I have to say, I feel like if you're making me this offer under the mistaken impression that I'm Jewish,
Wow.
I got to let you know that I'm not. I would love to do this.
Yeah.
But if you want to pass me over
I got to be honest.
in favor of authenticity and community, I totally understand.
Wow, that's big of you.
And they did pass.
So that's why I got the part.
Yeah.
And so these are conversations.
Yeah.
I don't know what's right and wrong. I will still take a part.
Yeah.
If it feels right to me.
But you're doing it in good faith.
And
Yeah, I
right
hope
or
so.
wrong, it's what's right to you. You thought that was the right move, regardless of outcome, and I think that's, admirable.
And if you want to play an Italian, go ahead.
Right. And I've gotten a lot of people thinking I'm either Italian or Greek.
I never get
Nick's
to play
saying no.
Italians. I am 100%.
Nick's Italian. He's saying fuck that.
Yeah.
I am 100% Italian. I've never played an Italian character.
Yeah.
I don't read for whatever reason as Hollywood Italian.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever the hell that is. And so, yeah, that's just the...
Yeah, I find it interesting because there is a fine line, and I'm sure people are going to disagree with this, but it's like, at the end of the day, none of it is real. We're obviously telling real stories, but like any film, TV...
Like if you're thinking, oh, under normal circumstances, I would believe that this person belongs to this group, but because I know objectively on the outside they're not.
then they
like if
can't portray that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's all make-believe anyways.
Okay, but what do you think about when there was Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're talking about with Maestro?
Yeah.
So here's what I will first say. I think Maestro was robbed at the Oscars. Maestro was my favorite film that year.
Well,
The moment he came on screen, my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that movie's a good movie or not because
Right.
I was so goddamn impressed with those two actors.
right, yeah.
Straight up.
Okay.
I'm biased because Bradley Cooper's like one of my biggest inspirations as an
Okay.
actor.
Okay.
Here's what I will say. I have no issue with the use of prosthetics
Yeah.
to make yourself look like a person.
Right.
Or
agree.
even if it's you to make you look like something other than yourself.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I think I did take a little issue because when you and for all I know, the thing I saw online wasn't real or it was AI generated or whatever. So you got to be careful with that. I did see a photo of Bradley Cooper and Leonard Bernstein,
Mm-hmm.
and the prosthetics that they used when he was older, I didn't have a problem with. Now I don't know if this is true because I haven't spoken to anyone on Maestro, but I did hear that they use prosthetics for the nose.
Yeah.
And I looked at the pictures of Bradley Cooper without the prosthetics.
Yeah.
And I looked at the picture of Leonard Bernstein. I go, this looks so similar. You
yeah,
do
they
not.
didn't
You
need it.
don't need to do that.
Right.
And so, considering the accentuation of the nose
Hmm.
is an anti-Semitic trope, I was like, I don't think you guys are coming at it from an anti-Semitic realm whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I did think that one part was slightly insensitive, only because it wasn't necessary.
Hmm.
Of course, if Leonard Bernstein's nose is larger,
Hmm.
then yes, put on a prosthetic and make the nose larger.
So to play devil's advocate, though, he was the director as well as the actor playing that role.
Yeah.
If him as either the actor or I would say more so actor, I guess. If it helped him portray the character better, in the sense of he looks in the mirror with his regular knowledge, goes, "That's just me. I notice myself. This slight change helps me get more into the world, the mindset of this character." You know, at what point?
And I want to respect the process,
right?
for sure. And I think it always does come down to intention. It comes down to intention and education. Is it coming from a bad place? Is it coming from a malicious place?
Yeah.
Which I didn't get a sense at all that.
Well,
that
I'm pretty sure his family, because people were like saying, "Oh, that's anti-Semitic." And I'm pretty sure his daughters,
Leonard Bernstein's daughter came out and said something.
we're like, it's not anti-Semitic at all. Like they're honoring my father. He had a big fucking nose.
Yeah.
Years ago, I played someone from Newfoundland in a movie. I did a terrible job, and someone I know who is from Newfoundland took issue with that part and was like, "This is basically just a modern day Newfie joke. I don't like the scene, and these kids you cast to do it can't do the accent." He was absolutely right, and I was bad in that movie, and I was shocked that I got it, and I was young, and I did it, and I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone complain about when I've played Jewish characters.
You got a knack.
No one has said
You're
like, "Hey,
believable, man.
You're mishpacha, you know?
Look at that Punim.
No, yeah, exactly. When I was doing the play, I would come out and it felt like you know, it's theater.
Yeah.
And again, it's saying that thing you get from theater. That was the play I was doing when I had told you that story at the beginning. I would come out and the audience, it just felt like there was 15 to 20 of my grandmother in the audience. It was a very Jewish.
Bro, they're so honestly like nonnas and savtas are like 1-to-1.
And so like I really did feel like there's something in the heart of this that feels true.
Yeah.
And that feels important. And I hope to, in anything I do to do, especially if you're representing a real person or a real community, that you do it justice and do it from the heart.
And that's the thing. To your point, I think it's intention. I think if you have good intentions about it, if you want to share a story, if you know, if it's coming from an authentic place, maybe not an authentic lived experience, because as an Italian, you didn't grow up in a Jewish household.
Yeah.
But you do the best you can, and again, working with people on the production side, directors, writers, producers that are Jewish, in my opinion, if they're giving you the green light and grounded, to go ahead and do it, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think
it's a conversation and it's evolving and it'll change and
for sure.
You know,
I love that you said it's evolving because that's so important. Sometimes we have these stark opinions about the way things are now and that's how it's always going to be, but everything shifts, everything comes and goes, it ebbs and flows.
Yeah, like will there be a time again when a straight actor is going to play like a trans character? Maybe when enough trans actors are getting work.
Exactly.
But it used
once we
to
got
be,
over that hump.
Yeah, but it used to be if you were out and trans, you weren't getting the job.
Anything.
Right.
Because it was going to freak out audiences.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, and that happened in what's that
Dallas
Pacino
Buyers?
movie? In the 70s with he says Dog Day Afternoon. You know, and the guy who played the part won an Oscar for doing it. And there's this whole documentary about this. You know, there was a trans actor up for that part. You know, and it's like, these are things we don't know. And so to me, it's like, are there people not getting work out there because you're getting this job? That needs to turn.
For sure.
And also, part of that turning was things like Dallas Buyers Club, was Hollywood shining a light on it, and so people getting accustomed to those stories. So then now, or like Harvey Milk or whatever.
Yeah.
And so now, if Harvey Milk was made now, you have
100%.
have a movie star gay actor play that part, and that would be fucking great.
That'd be amazing.
In the 50s and 60s, we couldn't have movie star gay actors, and now we do. And so like and then maybe one day, if it's not played by AI, like. AI is not a human. They shouldn't play any human
They
characters.
should only play robots.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
Actually, to be fair, like in her, Scarlett Johansson did play AI, which really isn't fair to the AI community.
Yeah, she culturally appropriated AI. That's true.
But no, I think it's bringing it back to that 1% everyday kind of thing. It's like in the grand scheme of this industry, over the course of the years, little by little, these changes have led to monumental decisions. That are hopefully going to continue going in the right direction. So I think that's. It's a nice way to bring it full circle.
Now, we are out of time,
Yes.
but I do want to ask one final question. We're starting to ask this of our guests because I think the whole point of us doing this was to get greater insight into each individual artist and how they approach the work and what gets them going. So to that effect, David, what is the kind of stuff that inspires you artistically? what is it that lights your fire and gets you, out of bed and raring to go artistically to keep at it for as long as you've been doing it so far? Whether it's a particular phrase, a particular song, is there a performance or a movie or something that just you come back to home?
Oh, wow. Hang on. What? Hang on. Can you rephrase that? You're saying it could be a song or a movie? Or
like for example, there's a song that I've been listening to since I was a kid, "Landslide" by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, yeah.
And I love. Hey, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
And I've loved that song ever since and everyone hears the song. Oh yeah, Fleetwood Mac, "Landslide." It's beautiful. And like, as we grow older, things shift. Our understanding of things shift. And so I wouldn't say that when I was a kid hearing that song that song inspired me in that moment, or maybe it didn't. I just didn't know why. But in the last year of my life, the lyric, "Time makes you bolder. Even children get older, and I'm getting older too," has been etched into my soul. And it's meant something different to me, and it's impacted the way that I view storytelling and human connection, and it will continue to shift. And so I'm curious if there's something right now at this point in your life, in your artistic journey as a journeyman actor, if there is something that is currently lighting that fire.
Well, I love that song too, and just thinking about this, slowing down and thinking about what moves me. I feel a little moved, and I was reading what's a famous Grapes of Wrath, famous Steinbeck novel, and I was like, I knew that it was brilliant. But in order to receive it, I really needed to slow down and almost humble myself before it. Felt the same way when I saw Phantom Thread. I went to that movie and I was sitting in the back and I was like, you know what? This movie might be slow.
Yeah.
It might not entertain me the way a lot of movies do, but I know there's something here for me. It's Daniel Day-Lewis. It's P.T. Anderson. And I moved down. I moved down to the third row, which I never said in movies, just so I could put myself
take it all in
below it, and just go you do what you want to do. I'm gonna receive, and so just that idea of going to.
I just got moved by that. Jesus Christ.
Slowing down enough to be able to be moved by something is hard.
Yeah,
it is hard with everything, with all of the clicking and swiping and the fast dopamine rush entertainment we're being dealt all the time. So this moment, we both have kind of felt that thing. It's in your eyes too. That is what I want, and
that's gorgeous, man.
Yeah,
thank you so much. We got to end that one there, but. Man, thank you so much for taking the time, for spending an evening with us to have this conversation. I have so many more questions that I would have loved to have unpacked, so I would love to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, let's do it.
But just thanks for your artistry, man. Thanks for showing up for Canadian artists and for constantly staying in flow. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Where can they find you? Plug yourself, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing. Go see. I don't know when this is going to be up, but you've probably missed TIFF. But see who bought that movie, Nika and Madison.
There you go.
And let me know if I'm convincing you as a baddie.
Any socials you want to plug or?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, The Reale David. You can find me there. I have an IMDb. You can call my mom. She would love to talk about me to you.
Her phone number is
Just don't expect any matzo ball soup because it's Italian, not Jewish.
A lot of spaghetti.
Or it just won't be that good. Well, did you say a lot of spaghetti?
A lot of spaghetti.
Get out of here. We're done.
All the
We're
stereotypes
done.
are real.
We're done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Cheers.